coming up.
First thing we did was we ran to the ocean and drank. Don't take for granted that your government's going to fix it. The Great Barrier Reef was ill, actually dying away. The oceans are in danger.
Welcome back to Talking Foreign Affairs. Today, we're diving into oceans conservation. And who better to join us than a founding member of the Beach Boys and the voice behind some of the most iconic ocean-inspired songs ever written, Jardine. He's part of one of the best-selling bands in history, with over 100 million records sold and music that helped define coastal culture for generations. But for Al, the ocean goes beyond just musical inspiration. It's something personal and something he spent years working to protect. Now touring Australia starting this upcoming June with his Pet Sounds band, shows running in Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Newcastle. Tickets are now available on sale and selling fast. Al, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. That was very, very nice and very generous of you. I haven't sold 100 million records in a while. I think that's it sounds good, doesn't it? But the truth is, the best gold records we ever got, received, I should say, were from Australia. And I still have them hanging. I have them hanging in my studio because they don't have glass on them. I don't know if they still do that, but they're just beautifully illuminated, with like a silver coating. Not gold. It's just a beautiful silver on blue velvet.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I remember when I was visiting California, went to tours of the record companies. Like you look back in the 70s and 80s and the way they used to recognize artists who had hit platinum, you'd get the frame and then they'd sign the CD. So yeah, I wish they did bring that. Al, I just want to go back to your story growing up. I understand with the Beach Boys was five. You had the three brothers, Dennis, Carl, Brian, and cousin Mike Love. They were born and grew up in California. You, on the other hand, you were born in Ohio, but then you moved to California. You've spoken of yourself as an immigrant from the East. The fact you didn't grow up along the ocean, but then you moved to the ocean after a couple of years. How did that develop an appreciation? The fact you weren't born with the ocean around you, but it's something that you had having to move after a couple of years. What appreciation did that give to you?
Well, my brother and I, the first thing we did was we ran to the ocean and drank. We wanted to taste the salt water, and of course the vastness, the vastness of the ocean versus the lake. We lived on freshwater lakes in the Midwest, and it's a whole different experience. But the ocean has so many more complexities and so many more species in it that we learned a lot as we went along. But primarily we learned by swimming and surfing about the waters there.
And when you think back to your first real bond with the ocean, what do you remember feeling before it ever became something you put into music?
Dennis Wilson was really the ocean going beach boy. He inspired us to write the music.
Yeah.
And through him, we all learned a little bit. I learned how to surf because of Dennis Wilson. So we gathered around that cultural thing going on in Southern California and in Northern California, actually all along the coast of California. Surfing was started to be a craze. And we were the first ones to put lyrics to surf music to give it a name and a following.
Now, I was watching the documentary on Disney Plus, and you're talking about trying to capture the mood of the generation at the time. For some, it was skating, for some, it was surfing, and 60s and 70s. But still, I'm not sure if you're on TikTok, your music still connects even with today's generation. People use it Gen Z uses it for various TikTok dances. What do you think it is about the music that still connects with generations today?
Because Brian Wilson, that's why.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson was a genius. He could write a melody. He could sit down in 2 minutes. He could write a brand new melody that would be a #1 song. Not very many bands in the world have songwriters with that kind of skill. He's not only a songwriter; he was an arranger, a producer, a singer, a writer, a player. He had it all. So all the brothers and cousin Mike would write a few lyrics, of course, which were very important because we needed some lyrics to go beyond the surfing car craze too. You had to evolve. So
Yeah.
Mike was very good lyricist that way,
Yeah.
but it was Brian Wilson that carried the load and made it. Without this architecture, musical architecture, we would have been nowhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, you raised some really good points about how within your music, there were a wide variety of themes covered, whether it was high school, skating, surfing, going down to the dance ballroom, but specifically looking at oceans conservation and looking at some of the surf songs like Surfing USA, Surfing, Surfer Girl. When you listen back now, and especially given how badly some of the conditions of the oceans are, do you hear something deeper in those songs?
No, uh, other than the one I wrote uh, outside of the Beach Boys, we were glorifying a craze, surfing craze. So
Yeah,
we really didn't get near the deep water.
yeah,
We're you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We were a coastal dwellers enjoying and celebrating freedom.
yeah,
But the deeper issues we began to learn about oil, the oil
yeah,
spills and things like that, and overfishing in Monterey, where I
yeah,
live, overfishing populations, salmon, sardines, those kind of things. You have to regulate the human consumption.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're gonna kill off species, and then
mm,
then you kill off other things, and pretty soon you have a mess. But right now, the orcas are swimming, are in the
mm,
water up here in North America. The
yeah,
orcas are going after the gray whales, so which
yeah,
we're trying to protect. We're trying to protect the whales, and yet the orcas need food too. So
mm,
it's always a balancing equation. It's a difficult to really interpret it. But so we sing about the more charming and beautiful
yeah,
water, and when underneath there's a war going on
mm,
for food, including the
yeah,
war for human food, which
yeah,
is which is something we have to be careful. The crab
mm,
fisheries and things like that. So,
yeah. You raised some really important points about how if you look deeper in the ocean, the
oh yeah.
ecosystem. Uh,
We have the Monterey Aquarium, Julie Packard's of the Hewlett Packard Company,
yeah,
Fortune, put together a beautiful aquarium, and they really instruct. That's
yeah,
a beautiful educational institution. In case anybody wants to or come up into this northern area
yeah.
and learn about the ocean. That's I've learned a lot from them.
Yeah, no, definitely something I'd recommend our audience going and seeing if they're in that part of the region.
Hmm.
So I mean, there are two distinct areas here. We'll go a bit more into marine life and a bit more deeper into water, the more deeper water stuff a bit later on in
Hmm.
this interview. I still want to look more at the surface of the coastal, at some of the more coastal surface areas, because that is still something that is still under threat in many parts of the world that people might not be able to enjoy the beaches as they once were. You put it perfectly in some of your songs about enjoying some of the more surface stuff, the fun of the coast at the time. But there are many parts of the world where there is coastal erosion going in some parts of the seas, and that's healthy for human beings. Do you ever
Hmm.
worry for future generations, such as your grandchildren, that they won't be able to experience the oceans the same way you did?
Oh, not really. I think that we adapt.
Yeah,
I think they'll adapt. They'll be conscious,
yeah,
and that's all we can do. We can only, and if we're fishermen, we have to be more careful about fishing. When I was growing up in California, Southern
mm,
California,
yeah.
people used to dump their garbage right into the water
Ooh, yeah,
because they thought, well, it's deep enough out here, nobody cares. And
yeah.
and in New York City, same thing. The whole city dumped their garbage into the Atlantic
Mhm,
Ocean. The entire city of New York. There's just a
yeah,
burial ground out there, and stuff. So, I, I mean, there's a point at which you have to be realistic and say this has to change.
yeah,
And so we just have to go with the change and be
yeah.
aware. Be more aware.
I mean, speaking of change, you were always ahead of your time. Back in the early 70s, you did the song Don't Go Near the Water. What was it that specifically drove you at that time? Because writing music about environmental concerns really wasn't a thing back in the early 70s. Like, what made you come up with the idea and pushed you to do that?
Because I read an article in the New York Times,
Mm,
or was it? Well, at any rate, I wrote there was a fear that phosphates, a chemical called a phosphate, in
yeah,
the soaps in our water are
yeah,
detergents,
Yeah.
specifically we're causing pollution and in the waters
Yeah.
after you drain your washing machines and your sinks. Everybody's got
Mhm.
a washing machine and a sink. So I wrote about that. Toothpaste and soap will make the oceans a bubble bath.
Yeah.
Silly line like that. And so they wrote up a story in the Time magazine about it, and I think that made people aware of the phosphates that were
Yeah.
and maybe it changed the regulations. I hope,
Mhm.
and I think that's one thing the Beach Boys have done, and that
Yeah.
as far as keeping the rivers and the lakes clean too.
Yeah, one thing I like about the work you do is that, and I work with various public figures and celebrities on this, is you go beyond the surface and you look at some of the more deeper scientific reasons to why certain issues happen. And you mentioned about reading a magazine article back in the 70s. And I mean, in today's world, like attention spans are getting shorter. Um, People prefer shorter form content in terms of getting their news. But there's still a lot more passionate Gen Z people who are very keen to use art as a tool to raise awareness on important things like marine life, climate change. What advice would you give to the current generation who want to bring about change to art and music and an effective way to do it?
Well, just educate yourself,
Yeah,
and read. And people don't they don't read anymore. I mean,
yeah,
like you say, the attention spans are short, and elect good politicians, that are
yeah,
sensitive to
yeah,
what's going on in your own province or state, and
yeah,
a Canadian
yeah,
actually, environmentalist named Terry Jacks
yeah,
wrote a song called "Don't Fight the Sea,"
mm,
and and I thought, wow, this could be a great Beach Boys song.
yeah,
And so I got all the Beach Boys to sing on it, and then I released it on my album called A Postcard from California. And
mm,
if we all work together like that, with each other, even from different countries, well, I think it came out great. If
yeah,
anybody wants to listen to it, it actually references some of those deeper, meanings or whatever philosophy of treating the oceans with some respect,
yeah,
and protecting the polar bear. For instance, the
yeah,
polar bears are suffering from the sea warming up.
yeah.
So yeah, that's where that song came from. It's just saying it was a collaboration between a Canadian friend of mine, and we wrote a great song, and I think it really counts.
So Al, your song "Don't Fight the Sea" got a lot of recognition at the Blue Ocean Festival, and you raised funds from that single for some of the victims of the horrific tsunami in Japan around the same time in the early 2010s. Can you just reflect a bit about that and also how music has helped you connect with different cultures?
Oh yeah, that was a horrific event that happened over there, and we were having record store day here sometime afterwards. So we dedicated that particular song to them and raised some awareness. Well, raised some money for the cause, for those survivors over there. But it was a great collaboration, I thought, between Terry Jacks, a number one songwriter from Canada, and myself to give it a Beach Boy flavor and make it more complete in my opinion. And I added a beautiful bridge, what would they call a bridge in the music business, with Carl Wilson singing this
Hmm.
hauntingly beautiful song, I should say, about the polar bear and the dangers to all species from the
Yeah,
oceans warming up from a couple of degrees and changing the climate. So
yeah,
yeah, the ocean is the engine
mm,
for the Earth. It's really a climate engine. It just gives me chills thinking about it, actually, because it's all around us, we, and we have to respect that.
yeah.
So don't fight the sea.
Mm. No, I really enjoyed and like I'd highly recommend, and I'll be posting this on my social so anyone listening can head that. The video in for the music video for that was extremely powerful.
Yes, it was.
Very
Yes, it
good.
was. It's almost too powerful. It,
Yeah,
it showed people slaughtering the seals on the ice. And it just
yeah,
there's just so many issues that we need to deal with
yeah,
that the Beach Boys aren't generally don't sing about in depth about social issues like that. So I thought I
yeah.
should take it upon myself.
No, I mean it was a welcome variation at the time because it did send a strong message, but it's also a really catchy song. So not only did you raise awareness, but people are gonna remember it now. The chorus was really, really catchy. Just going back to your home state of California, very similar to my home state of Western Australia, long coastal line. Our economy depends a lot on marine life. You've been very active in California's marine sanctuaries or advocating for them. You've said they're underfunded. What needs to change to better protect them?
Well, the federal government needs to change. We need a new president.
Mm,
He's just he's going for coastal drilling. That they're
mm,
just trying to they're taking away all the forest protections for the forests and the oceans, and there's a radical group in Washington that needs to say goodbye in the next
yeah,
election. That
yeah,
that would be my suggestion.
yeah.
But I'm sorry you can't help us down there, but that's my
Yeah,
opinion
yeah.
because they're just not
Um,
they're just not cognizant. For some
yeah.
reason, they've got other issues that are more important.
So Al, I just want to end on some light-hearted questions before we finish off this interview. We've covered some really important ground on why ocean conservation is important, not just at the surface level, but also deeper, looking at marine life. First, some trivia for our fans. Was it true that only one of the Beach Boys could surf?
That was Dennis Wilson. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was our sex symbol guy.
Mhm.
He had it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was the drummer.
Yeah.
So he fit the role perfectly. He had to learn to play
Yeah.
because he none of us played instruments until we started the band. So we
Mm.
had to kind of learn how to play as we went along. And he got
Yeah.
better and better, and we all got better. I was a folk singer, so I played a little guitar, but
Yeah.
but I had to learn rock and roll guitar, and Carl was learning. He was taking lessons, so we all
Yeah.
had to grow into it.
Have you ever tried surfing in the past?
Yeah, Dennis taught me how to surf, but the water's too cold around here, so I didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
You guys are lucky. You have really
Yeah.
great water.
Well, I hope if it's something you're up for and the water's warm, it's something you get to experience again. When you do perform some of your classic hits, what are some of your favorite songs you like to perform?
Well, I love them all. We always start with California Girls
Yeah.
because that's our clarion call, to
Mm,
everyone in the world. Really,
yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
beautiful composition,
Yeah.
and vocals are great. Everything's great about it.
Yeah.
And then we go into a few ballads, Surfer Girl and Don't Worry Baby, and we do some car songs at
Yeah.
Little Deuce Coupe, I Get Around, and some
Yeah.
stuff from the new album, the new box set. We got
Yeah.
a car song called How Honking Down the Highway. I love that
Yeah.
one, and also Roller Skating Child.
Mm,
There's some really good ones in there. Some
yeah.
newly performed ones, yeah,
Yeah.
from the new box set.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very keen. I've had a chance to listen to some of your new songs and I've really enjoyed them. One thing I'm very, very curious to know is like there are songs you play all the time and people would request in and out, like Surfing USA, I Get Around, California Girls. You perform those songs probably thousands of times. How do you still maintain an appreciation to perform a hit song and enjoy it if you performed it so many times? That's just something I'm always been curious to know. You change the arrangements, or how do you still maintain that the rush and the interest to
No,
perform the song?
No, this band I have now is Brian Wilson's handpicked band,
Yeah.
and every note's like the record, so it's even
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
We sound like the record, and
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. I mean, you won't believe how good it is.
Yeah. And just going back to the hit song Surfing USA, Australia does get a mention with Australia's Narrow being in the chorus. How do you
Yeah,
decide which locations you were going to include in that famous pre-chorus or chorus? Because there would have been so many choices you could have chosen. I'm just keen to know the decision making between choosing those locations.
yeah. You just look it up in the dictionary. I mean, you
Yeah.
just find out, or I mean, Wikipedia, whatever. I don't know.
Mm.
Encyclopedia. You can find out where all these locations are, and they just need to rhyme
Yeah.
with what the music you produced.
Yeah.
And Brian was very good at that, and Mike.
Mm.
Brian and Mike kind of worked on that one. So
Yeah.
that they found out a Narrabeen, and I'm going,
Yeah.
what? I didn't know what the hell that meant the first time we
Mm.
did it, and I thought, wow,
Okay.
that's
I thought
really
maybe it was
something.
like, yeah. No, I
Uh-uh.
was gonna say I thought it's like places maybe you visited and then you were reflecting on them in the music.
No, no, that would be Dennis. Dennis knows all those locations, but and
Yeah.
Mike just looked them up in a book.
Yeah. No, I mean, it seems to work. It was a number one hit song, so I mean, whatever works, it
It was
seems to
pretty
work.
close, uh,
Yeah,
pretty close to that top 5 at least, yeah.
yeah. I want to go a bit more into your current tour. Can you just explain to us a bit more how that's going and any? You talked about your new album. Any specific songs you'd like the audience to pay attention to when they come to some of your shows in Australia?
Well, we're performing an album we did in 1977 called The Beach Boys Love You,
Yeah,
and it's not new, but it's newly performed. We've never performed it before, so it's like
yeah.
new. I mean, we've done it here, of course, but not there. And I think you'll really enjoy it because it's Brian at his wittiest, his most
Mm,
amazing songwriting and quirkiness and fun,
yeah,
and it's got a couple of car songs in it. So how can you beat that? You know
yeah,
that it's a gorgeous piece, and then we do the hits. We do all the same. You know, we have an intermission, and then we have the Love You album, and then we have an encore with all more even more hits. So
yeah.
and we've had Pet Sounds in there. We got probably 4 songs from Pet Sounds that we'll be doing, maybe more. It's the 60th anniversary, so we're going to do
Mm.
some selections from Pet Sounds. So it's a big spread. It's a career expanding moment when you hear the Pet Sounds band, you hear it all the eras.
It sounds like in your answers you've given a lot of credit to Brian.
A lot. How about
Yeah,
all?
yeah,
How about all the credit? I mean, he's the fountain of what Ponce de Leon said, a fountain of youth, fountain of something.
yeah,
You know, I mean, come on, you got to give it up to
yeah,
the creator. You know, we're just all we are a bunch of lyricists
yeah,
and pretty good singers. I guess shouldn't shortchange it, Brian. I mean, the
yeah.
band, because we sounded great. The
Mm,
brothers singing together. Are you kidding? Phew, boy,
yeah.
and we were we were the voice of Southern California for many years.
So, what was the most important lesson you learned from Brian? Because it sounds like he's been a mentor to you and he's helped you a lot with the band. What's
Right,
been the
right.
most?
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone can learn to write songs like he did.
yeah,
You can't teach that.
yeah,
So what we had to learn was keeping good pitch and good energy in
yeah,
making the sound that we called, the Beach Boy sound.
yeah,
The important thing is to show up on time and sing your heart out. That's good advice for anybody actually.
yeah.
But and Brian was always impatient. He wanted us to be there
Mm.
on time and get ready to sing. So we were ready and we delivered.
So, Al, just as we're about to finish off this interview, it's been really helpful learning about your passion with the oceans, and I hope you get a chance to experience it when you visit Australia. What
Hmm.
have been some of your most fondest memories of Australia? Do you have a favorite place in Australia? Please don't feel biased because I'm from Perth to say Perth. But what have been some of your favorite memories and places to perform at?
No, Perth is a beautiful, beautiful city, and the people are great. And you guys are the serious ocean dwellers. I mean, appreciators, I should say, of the
Yeah,
ocean. And there's no question about it. I mean, of course, anybody can say Sydney because of the beautiful opera house. That's the first thing you
yeah,
think about, because I mean, it's such a masterpiece, like it's eighth wonder of the world. So, I mean, you got it all.
yeah,
It's just wonderful. We're
yeah,
looking forward to it, and of course the Northerners, up in the North Coast up there, especially the Great Barrier Reef. I dove there with my wife several years ago, and it was so
yeah,
gorgeous. And then I heard that it was ill, was
yeah.
dying, actually dying away, and I just can't imagine.
It's very sad. So, like, the coastal reef is dying, and yeah, there's been a lot of attempt to try and there's been predictions that in no time it's gonna go, and it's such a shame. I mean, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a major economic driver for the country.
Oh, I know, and I wanted so badly to go back there and then visit the rainforest while we were up there too. But
Yeah.
that was my greatest education was diving down to the beautiful clams down at the bottom.
Al, thank you so much for joining our program. That was Al Jardine. He's touring Australia this upcoming June, performing in Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Newcastle. That's in Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Newcastle. Tickets are selling quite fast. Head to aljardine.com. That's aljardine.com to get your tickets soon before they sell out. Al, thank you so much. And just before we finish off, what's your one message of advice to young leaders who are very keen on protecting the oceans?
Just be aware. Don't take for granted that your government's going to fix it. It's everyone's got to join in together and be aware that the oceans are in danger and protect them from your government.
Some really important notes, Dan. Al, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to seeing you on your tour.